5 reasons to play Total War Warhammer. Finally, after years of waiting and keeping our fingers crossed, we get a Total War title set in the Warhammer Fantasy universe. We're simply stoked to present you our top 5 reasons to play it. 1. A perfect framework. For a long time, strategy games required us to turn a blind eye to their very obvious flaws. Those so-called epic encounters weren't actually that epic, considering that instead of thousands of units, we saw dozens of them at most. If you ask us, only one series of games managed to recreate the scope of medieval battles: Total War. The game's engine has been created with ancient and medieval warfare in mind. It allows staging full-blown encounters that include thousands of units, each of them represented with a staggering level of detail within a beautiful environment. Over the years, the Total War formula has been polished, and, as a result, today it's a perfect framework for a great Warhammer game. 2. A match made in heaven. Thanks to the Total War games, we got a chance to see what would happen if powerful armies from a specific time period clashed on a battlefield. But we always wondered, what would happen if they encountered a dragon? Or a troll? Or if they had powerful wizards within their ranks? In other words, Total War was simply begging for a fantasy spin-off, preferably drawing from a well-established and respected universe. It just seemed like it would be so much fun to open up new tactical possibilities with an assortment of crazy fantasy units, like zombies, gigantic trolls, gyrocopters, or even steam-powered tanks. The developers listened. They took the idea and wrapped it up in rich Warhammer lore that we all know and love. A match made in heaven, if there ever was one. 3. The lore. Warhammer Fantasy Universe came to being as a setting for a series of tabletop and role-playing games. The lore was tailor-made to justify all the glorious battles waged by players. It isn't, however, just some basic and silly orcs versus humans story one would expect. Warhammer Fantasy is heavily inspired by the political situation of ancient and medieval Europe. We have the powerful empire that bears resemblance to the ancient Rome and Habsburg monarchy. Against them stand the orcs, a mindless horde of barbarians. There are the reluctant and conservative dwarves, and also the mysterious, purely mythical undead. Each faction has different goals and prefers varying methods of achieving them. We don't know how the developers are going to handle the story, but the potential is there. One might argue Warhammer is just a straightforward fantasy setting, a darker Tolkien if you will, but it's one of the fathers of modern dark fantasy. If it seems redundant, it's only because almost everyone copied from it after it redefined the genre in 1983. 4. Strategy and tactics. There are 2 levels of gameplay in Total War games: tactical and strategic. When we're not leading our armies to the victory on the battlefield, we're making equally important decisions on the world map. The player is tasked with developing his kingdom, building armies, making alliances, and choosing the direction of conquest. As we said before, each faction has different goals and varying ways to deal with obstacles. So, there is no sure way formula for success. You have to plan ahead and react swiftly to changes in situation. It's a challenge every strategy fan desires. 5. It's a PC exclusive. Look, we don't have anything against console games or ports, but there's only one platform well suited for strategies, and it's PC. If you are developing a multi-platform title, you just have to simplify it, because playing a complex game with a gamepad is virtually impossible. There's also the question of lowering graphical standards due to consoles' limited capabilities. But it's really not about the graphics. Console games are simpler because console players want simpler games. That's it. The whole truth. We're not saying that playing simple games is wrong in any way, or that it makes one less of a gamer. It's just a difference in expectations that stifles the potential of many interesting strategy games. Total War Warhammer was made for the PC and PC only. There are no compromises, no lowered standards, no trying to please everybody, and in effect appealing to no one at all. Total War Warhammer is exactly what it's meant to be, and that's why we can't wait for its release. What are your thoughts on Warhammer? Which Warhammer games do you like the most? Let us know in the comments. Click subscribe if you like our videos, and visit Kinguin.net to pre-order Total War Warhammer at the best price.